Welcome to The Knock, a podcast where we dive into real stories of real people who've experienced life before Christ and the transformation that comes when they answer the knock. Whether you're rooted in faith, feeling distant, or still unsure what you believe, our prayer is that these conversations stir something in you. Every story we share points back to the same truth. When you open the door, everything changes. Let's get into it.
All right, what's up, guys? This is Jared Kough. We have another episode of The Knock podcast. I am here with my host, Bobby Kough. We're going to be going over his testimony today. And then we have Jimmy Vreeland here today as well, helping out with some of the questions. How you doing today, Jimmy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Any big updates that you guys...
Yeah, we just know you want to say yours.
No, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll
go ahead.
We'll go at it. But just had my wife just had our baby girl about 14 days ago, 2 weeks ago. We just were able to bring her home about 2 days ago. She's in the NICU, so super excited to have our family all together. But today we're gonna be focusing in on Bobby. We're gonna go through his testimony. So you and I, we know each other extremely well. Grew up together.
Yeah.
We live about 10 minutes away from each other. So I know that's why we have Jimmy here to help facilitate the conversation. But we're gonna go over Bobby's testimony today. So if you want, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, and then
Christ follower of about 3 years intentionally. Seed was planted. We'll kind of talk a little bit about that story. But I'm a husband to a beautiful wife, Molly. I thank God every day that she's put up with me, and you guys will hear through my story, like she plays a really big part in I think our family coming to Christ. You know, we'll definitely get into that. Father to two little boys, Bobby and Cooper, and soon to be Kellyanne here in December, a little baby girl. So excited about that. You know, played some Army football, business owner with these two fine gentlemen, and excited to share my story a little bit. Hopefully, it relates to somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, let's get into that time where the seed was planted. I know you said 3 years. You're what, 34 years old now?
Yeah.
So pretty new to the faith, as am I. Let's get into when the seed was planted and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I was a pretty bad kid growing up. I was pretty violent. I got into a lot of fights with my father. I took a lot of that aggression and then it would translate to school. And it was kind of like my dad was a really big guy. It's like, so you're a little kid.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than you. Like, you're going to try to mess with me? Okay. Like that's an easy test. But yeah, no, I was pretty violent. I went through like a pretty hardcore rebellious couple of years as a teenager. Where I think the seed was planted, I was actually taking back to I was 13 years old. We were in Rancho Cucamonga somewhere on a Saturday. I was watching Jared play soccer, and it was pretty common occurrence at the time. But my dad and I had a big blowout at the soccer field. So we're having this argument. We're hashing it out. Jared's playing soccer. Meanwhile, we have the coach who is a big part of the story and becomes a really good family friend to this day. And I grab my dad's chair before he sits down, and I just sling it. I don't even know if I flipped it. I think I just slang the chair. And there's a big old iced coffee. And thank God it was an iced coffee, because it flew and it hit this little girl that had to be 2-3 years old. I remember the look on my mom's face, like she was mortified. Like it was probably the most embarrassed that she's ever been about something, which I get. Like if somebody spilled the coffee on my baby,
yeah,
like what are you doing? And like I said, thank God it wasn't a hot coffee, like it was an iced coffee. So I always say that I think after that moment, I think Lance, Jared's coach at the time, looks over at us and he's like, these Coes need some Jesus.
And we did.
We did. So fast forward a little bit. He invites us over to his house for a pool day. I remember that was pretty interesting. I think they didn't really know how aggressive we were.
Oh yeah.
I remember.
Were you beating up his kids?
In a fun way. This was an appropriate aggressive way.
Yeah.
But I remember Lance's wife at the time. I don't think she was too happy with it.
Uh-huh.
Because it was like these kids that are coming over, we're evangelizing this family, like we know they're a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And then you got like the two like mongoloid sons coming over and we were playing pool basketball.
Which always gets aggressive.
Oh, super aggressive.
Yeah.
And it was.
So we were dunking.
I mean,
on
there's
each
no
other.
mom in America that likes pool basketball.
No.
Every dad loves it.
Yeah. It was quite entertaining. Lance did tell us, he's like, hey, you can keep coming over for pool days, just tone it down just a little bit, just to make everybody a little more comfortable. So he had a conversation with my dad, and then
Was he a pastor or he was just a member of the church?
just a member of the church.
Yeah, he's just
A member of the church.
Yep.
Jared's coach.
It was Calvary Chapel in Upland.
Yeah,
California.
Calvary Chapel in Upland's kind of where it all started.
Yep.
And then, dude, we dove into it. I would say in our childhood, that was probably the bright spot of our childhood. Like I don't know if there's a period of time outside of that was much better.
No, our house was very calm.
Yeah, and it was about the only time. It's crazy that a relationship with Jesus leads to peace, joy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's kind of the promise.
Yeah. Start going to church, and like I said, we dove into it. Like it wasn't just going to church. Like we were there the entire day.
We started serving at the church. We did like a breakfast, lunch ministry type thing where.
And how old are you at the time?
It's probably 13 to 15, 16. So it was a 2-3 year span.
It was a decent
And then were you still
span.
getting in fights at school?
Not as much. No. I mean, I would have the occasional like.
You still got kicked out of high school, didn't you?
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Was that for fighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
also got kicked out of middle school.
For fighting?
Yeah. Well, no. Middle school wasn't for fighting, I don't think.
Why'd you get kicked out of middle school?
I don't. Yeah. I think it was
fighting.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to those. All right. So, hey, what I'm focusing on is the bright spot where the seed was planted and Jesus.
Well, yeah,
was.
it's important to see where the gap was.
Yeah. I was an angry kid, and I think that translates a little bit to my adult testimony and some of the vices that I've had. But man, I remember distinctly when we were going to church at that time in our lives, serving, like spending the whole day, like our dad would cook breakfast. We would go to service, the 8 o'clock service.
Yeah.
My dad would cook breakfast in this kind of like food truck that Lance bought.
Yep.
And it would just be donations for the church.
Yeah.
Like they would go to Sam's Club, they'd buy a bunch of stuff, cook breakfast. We were helping out with like Vacation Bible School, doing all kinds of stuff, like kind of getting intertwined with the people and all of that stuff. And man, it was it probably was the highlight of our childhood, I would say. And then I think just life happened, and then we kind of just fell away from that church.
Well, how old were you when your dad started getting sick?
He had health issues most of our childhood, but when he really started getting sick, Bobby was already off in college. So,
Yeah, I was already at West Point.
But I'm assuming his activity level in general, including going to church, probably slowed down as he got sick.
Yeah. There were some other things that happened at the church, but yeah, it just became not a good fit anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just.
So do you think that time left the hardwiring that made it easier for you to come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it wasn't completely foreign when you came back?
No. I think I would say about 16 is when we separated from the church.
Yeah.
And then it was really just kind of like non-existent.
And was it a real separation, or was it like you just stopped going?
It wasn't separation in the sense that it was like, oh, I disagree with this, I don't want this. It was kind of just we stopped going.
Okay. So more apathy.
Yeah. Obviously, if you don't refresh your spirit, and as we know now, like being in the faith more, if you don't have those touch points and you don't have those constant refreshers, it's easy to fall away and to become more worldly. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But the understanding that there was a God, Jesus was his son, all of those things was still very much kind of cemented in those 3 years.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that I remember as a part of this whole like 3 year span, on top of serving, like we would do other little projects. There was a time we went to some low income houses in Upland, California, and we went there just to paint, do some handiwork and all this stuff. And went out there, and one of the ladies that lived in the complex was there. And we started having a conversation, and she was like, why? And at the time I was probably 15 years old. It was probably right in the middle of us being involved in that. And she started asking me questions about Jesus. And at the time, like theology, like all I could do is give her at the time, like my God honest testimony was my family was chaotic and violent and broken. Insert Jesus, and everything seemed to get better. That's really all I said to this lady.
Yeah.
Dude, she starts showing up to church. Like, from what I understood of the situation, like her life did a complete 180.
Nice.
I remember my dad bought me a Bible, and he was like, I'm proud of your faith. And he wrote that in the Bible. And that was kind of like my first experience of like evangelizing, like sharing the good news. And then just seeing that transform somebody's life. Like I would see her at church.
Yeah.
And, each month that went by, you could tell she was changing for the better.
Yep.
So that was really cool. That was a really cool part of all that. And then, of course, human nature. I fell away, started doing some bad things. And
Yeah. Well, let's start. I know part of this podcast is vulnerability and getting into the nitty gritty, because we're all broken people. I mean, that's a lot of what the church is. It's the church is like the hospital for the sick. So tell us a little bit about some of those things that you did do. And then obviously we'll progress into what the knock looked like.
Yeah. I mean, just about every big category of sin that is common in a man.
So general vices.
Yeah.
I don't know how explicit you guys get on this podcast.
I mean, dude, lust.
Yeah. So general vices of a 18 to 25-year-old man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So lust.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So you get accepted at West Point. You go to West Point. What happened there? Because I know they got the chaplains running around.
Yeah.
You're away from home, so you're probably looking for something. Did it have any effect? And then I used to go to Fellowship of Christian Athletes meetings.
Yeah, FCA.
But I only did that to get out of formation.
Right.
So there was definitely an evangelist. If you're an athlete at West Point, there's definitely people trying to knock.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so fast forward going through high school and getting into college, it was an afterthought, all of it. I will say when I met Molly, so my West Point experience was prep school at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. Then I go off to West Point, so I was playing football. It's kind of like our redshirt year. Go off to West Point. I make the varsity team as a freshman, and I get a call that, hey, pretty much your dad has brain cancer. He doesn't have a whole lot longer to live. So during this whole time, faith wasn't really a big thing.
Yeah.
I think in that time I probably reached out to God, like kind of a little bit of a vending machine relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
help Dad out.
God, help Dad out. If you do this, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like very transactional. It wasn't genuine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then our dad gets sick, and we thought through the whole process, we thought he had about a year to live. So I'm talking to West Point. We're communicating a bunch while I'm back at home, and they're like, hey, well, why don't you take the rest of the year? You'll have your spot. You'll have your spot on the football team. Obviously, if your dad only has a year to live, like that's priority.
Yeah.
But they're like, hey, I need you to come back and out process. So I go back on a random weekend out process, and then it was like, boom. Like I get the call, and it's like, he has like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it just happened way quicker than I think anybody anticipated. So he actually passed on that flight back from New York to California. So, that obviously that was challenging, as you can imagine. I think everybody was like pretty shell shocked at just like how quickly it all happened. Yeah.
You think it made you angry at God? Yeah, for sure. You think it pushed you away?
Yeah. There's two sides of it. I was angry at the fact that I saw my dad getting better health wise. At least I thought.
Yeah.
Like he was starting to lose weight, because like one of the things he really struggled with was his weight. So he was starting to lose weight. He was starting to be a little bit more active, and then all of a sudden this happens. So it's like I couldn't make sense of it. I'm like, oh man, like he's starting to see that, like, hey, you know, he wants a future with us when we have kids. Like he's starting to see us become young men.
Yeah.
And I could tell he was taking that seriously. And then boom, like brain cancer, which, you know, who knows how random it was.
Yeah.
Could have been because he lived a hard life on, you know, whatever he did. But there's a part that was confused and frustrated by that. And then the other part was some of my best memories were being in church with him. So the emotion of going back into church and like hearing specific songs, like I just couldn't do it for a while. And I remember that being kind of part of, you know, going back to the church, like that emotional impact was like, I remember standing next to my dad, like hearing this specific song. So I think that definitely drove a wedge in that relationship.
Yep.
And you know, it was misplaced anger. It was frustration.
Yeah. But for a 19-year-old kid, you know, probably not going to be able to read through C.S. Lewis's Problem of Pain and understand it.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I think, you know, once that happened, I think I became like really lost after that. And honestly, like the only thing that kind of was an anchor for me was Molly. So shortly after I came back, I met Molly. And at the time, she was going through something similar. Like her dad was on dialysis and needed a kidney transplant, or he was going to pass. So we instantly had like this, like, I think they call it like a trauma bond or whatever. So we instantly had a connection, and she was pretty good looking. And I was like, all right, cool. This is going to work out nicely.
Yeah.
So then you know, we start hanging out a bunch, and we tried to go to a couple different churches. We went to some really, really strange.
And this is why you're still at school?
This is why we were at West Point. But yeah, so we went to like kind of like that Puritan where the girls wear bonnets and all that stuff. And not to knock any denomination.
Like in Highland Falls?
Yeah.
Okay.
But for us, it was just odd.
Yeah.
And so we did that a couple times, and we went to a couple different churches, and we never found one. We didn't really know what we were looking for.
Yeah.
We had both kind of grown up with the faith a little bit, but obviously both of us strayed away from it pretty hardcore. But we were looking for something. So it was kind of an active part, but the way I was living my life, you know, obviously, you know, I was dating Molly. I was, you know, partying a bunch.
Yeah.
I was making about every bad choice that you can make besides like, you know, hard drugs and murder, I would say. Like I was staying away from those two.
Well, you still had the military discipline.
Yeah. Like there are things that we
for
couldn't
people who
do.
haven't been in the military, there's a lot of space as long as you just show up to formation.
Yeah. So
and don't break any laws.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was towing the line. I mean, there's a lot of us that did that.
Yeah, you're behaving like most cadets.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of fast forward, you know, Molly and I, because I think, you know, like any young relationship that's not rooted in Christ, there was a lot of, you know, just back and forth, like lack of being serious, taking breaks, talking to other people, like all of this stuff that was kind of damaging to our long-term relationship for sure. But we kind of still stuck through it. We still stuck together. During all of this, like I'm playing football, she's playing volleyball. I was a starter up until my senior year. You know, I think same thing for her. She was a starter up to our. We both were a little bit shell shocked by not starting or playing much our senior year. Hit graduation, go into the military, and then Molly and I kind of part ways.
Yep.
Not a whole lot crazy happened during that time. I mean, kind of the same stuff, partying.
And you did go to the most boring Army place ever in
Dude.
Fort Leonard Wood.
Lake of the Ozarks. It was pretty good.
Oh,
It was, like
for a few months a year. I got
yeah,
it. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, for a few months out of
Yeah.
the year.
Oh, I used to come out and visit, and yeah. I mean, I'd only come out during the good months.
Yeah.
But
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good. I mean, he has the Colorado experience to judge it
I
off
mean,
of.
I got spoiled. I lived in Savannah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So Savannah's a
well, I was gonna say, like, yeah, if you're not at the lake, then it's pretty
Yeah.
rough. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so go off, start the Army career. Wasn't a whole lot there, kind of a Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Train, go to NTC, Korea rotation, come back. Oh, guess what? You're going to do the exact same thing again. And it's like, nah, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So during this time, I'm in Korea, and Molly and I, it's like we would separate, like be pinging each other, then back together.
Yeah.
And we would separate, back together. So I just reached out to Molly one night when I was in Korea, and I'm like, look, like I believe at this point this is inevitable. Like we could do all the damage we want to do and to try to separate ourselves from each other, but I think it's pretty.
How many months? This was a year-long tour in Korea?
9 months.
Okay. So for those of you guys who have not been in the military, the Korea deployment is super, super boring.
Yes.
And like, I mean, it had to be Vice Central there because you had nothing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
playing video.
it actually wasn't that bad. So this is where I kind of became a nerd for a little bit.
Okay.
Because dude, we
So what are you doing? Like you're calling Molly? You're also in a 12-hour time difference. You guys are what, talking just long distance?
Yeah. I mean, so because this is an unfortunate statistic, but because at the time the only crime that was happening in South Korea was caused by American soldiers.
They just locked you guys down?
Oh yeah. I mean, our curfew was like 10.
Yeah.
So with any of the public transportation, if you wanted to go do something fun,
Yeah.
all you were doing was during the day. It was like tourist stuff, and I was like, I see something once, like I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm not too into like sightseeing, and that's about all there was.
Uh-huh.
Like you couldn't really have like an easy place to go like drink. Everywhere around there was like full of all the officers. So I was like, I'm gonna work out, and then this is when I started playing like football video games.
Uh-huh.
And I got to the point where I was like ranked like in the top 100 in the world. Like I was like super
So do you
good.
think that severe asceticism put on you was good for you spiritually or bad?
What do you mean?
Like, technically, you lived like a monk with a PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of focusing on the word, I was focusing on Madden.
But it does sound like it got some of the shenanigans. It limited some of the shenanigans.
Yeah, for sure. I think at that point I was tired of it.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit exhausted.
So was it almost like a decent reprieve?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was a little bit lonely.
So to give you some clarity?
Yeah, I mean, it
That's
definitely gave me clarity about Molly specifically. So I reached out to her, and I actually told Emily, who
Like how many months into the tour?
probably like 2 or 3, not
Okay.
crazy into it.
Yeah. And where was she at the time?
Fort Sill.
Sorry, I know I'm asking a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah,
That's why
yeah.
you brought me on.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay. Another super boring place.
Super boring.
Yeah.
That's worse than Leonard Wood. At least you have the Ozarks. That place has
Yeah.
nothing.
It's bad.
Yeah. So she's at Fort Sill. I'm in Korea. And I tell this story to Emily, who's actually your sister-in-law, one of our employees. And I was like, yeah, it was pretty much like this. Like, I reached out. I was like, hey, Molly, this is inevitable. You want to get married? And then Molly was like, yeah, let's get married.
Nice.
So fast forward.
Want to marry me?
She meets me when I get back. Oddly enough, Cracker Barrel is a big part of our story. It's kind of weird, but
We'll
So-
let that one slide.
so I get back from Korea. She meets me. We have this long night of processing back into post. Finally get to go hang out with her. Next morning we go to Cracker Barrel. So that's my first meal back in America after eating Korean food, which was great, by the way.
Sill?
Fort
Cracker
Leonard
Barrel?
Wood. Fort Leonard Wood
Okay.
Cracker Barrel.
Middle of Missouri.
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, because there's Burger
It's got
King.
romance written all over it.
Dude, it plays a big part.
So what? Do you have like biscuits and gravy and then get on a knee for real?
I don't even think I got on a knee. I think we had biscuits and gravy.
Did you like hide the wedding ring inside the biscuit and like she got done?
If it was cobbler, Molly would have been excited about that.
That or corn.
Corn, yeah, that or corn. But so we're talking through all this, and then I don't even remember how it was just like, yeah, this is gonna happen. So a couple weeks later, I go out to the Comanche County Courthouse in Lawton.
Yep.
And we get married on paper.
Nice.
And then we go to Cracker Barrel for our reception.
So hot.
So
was it just you guys? Did any parents?
No. So Molly's parents came out.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that Molly. I'll have to find the picture, but I'm pretty sure that Molly has like a little bouquet of flowers that's in like a toilet paper holder that her mom kind of made makeshift like put together.
Okay.
At the courthouse. But yeah, we got married on paper. Went to Cracker Barrel for our reception. It was a banger.
Nice.
So
what, did you go back to work on Monday?
Yeah. I think we went back to work. So what we ended up doing is we got married on paper. For those that don't know, like if you're not married in the military, it's hard to get stationed. Like you're not going to get stationed together.
Yeah.
So we got married on paper with the intent to do a wedding about a year from when that happened.
Yeah.
So I have 2 anniversary dates. Super confusing.
But you had to get the wheels rolling with the Army so you guys could live together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So fast forward, we're married for about 6 months of being apart. The drive to Lawton's about 6 hours. So sometimes I'm doing the drive, sometimes she's doing it. We're meeting midway in Tulsa.
Yeah.
So we're making it work. Then we get married, or we're already married. Then we go and we get stationed together at Fort Bliss.
Okay.
Which was a pretty cool spot.
Anything going on spiritually at this point?
No.
So all the boredom in Korea, never, hey, I'll pick up the Bible?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Unfortunately, no.
Radio silence at this point spiritually.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Not against it, not opposed to it.
Yeah.
Just
radio silence.
Just not in it.
Okay.
So fast forward, we're married. I'll be just completely honest for the sake of vulnerability. I was constantly probing with lust. Like I never fully took the step. And
yeah.
I think in my mind, it was like that very worldly perception of like, if I don't actually do something, it's not cheating.
Yeah.
But then if you look at it biblically, it's like, dude, even if your eyes wander, it's lust.
Yeah. And
so
you guys are getting married when Tinder's exploding, all this online stuff's going on. So not culturally the greatest time for a monogamous relationship.
No. And then also, I mean, kind of what I mentioned earlier, like all of the together, apart.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like flow didn't necessarily change. Like the difference was we were married.
Yeah.
So like kind of like how things were structured, like that roller coaster was still there. And it was just all the result of being a relationship not centered on Christ.
Yeah.
So I was constantly probing. And looking back on it, like from a biblical standpoint, like I was cheating, like emotionally.
Yeah.
I was lusting, and that caused a lot of damage. That's why I mentioned earlier that I am grateful that Molly has stuck by my side through all of this. And yeah, so fast forward, we kind of do the traditional thing. She ends up getting out of the military. We have our actual wedding, big wedding with the family and all that stuff. And we have our first kid. We're getting out of the Army. COVID happens. I get into real estate. That's kind of all where, I met you. I was flipping some houses. James Duncan's like, hey, why don't you go talk to Jimmy Vreeland in St. Louis?
Yep.
Only about an hour and a half away. And then fast forward to me now working with you.
Yeah.
And at that time, you were going through something pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was about a year and a half in.
So we're talking 2021.
About 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2022, the first year of working with you, still not a whole lot spiritually.
Yeah.
So this is the knock. This is we're
getting to the knock. I know big build up.
Yeah,
big build up.
Big build up.
It's like, So yeah, fast forward. I'm working with you for probably about a year. Spiritual stuff. We see the necessity of it because of the kids.
Yeah.
Right. So we start going to church. We start going to Westfield.
What year was Cooper born?
2021.
Okay.
So Bobby's 19.
So I think everybody has a spiritual crisis at the second kid.
Yeah.
Personally. Like you're going to have a marital crisis and you may or may not have a spiritual crisis at child 2.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
It's
with
different.
The second kid.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. I mean, and that's exactly what happened. So,
but wait, so still radio silence.
No, so at this point,
when did you start hearing some chatter on the radio?
Yeah, I would say about when we moved out to Wentzville.
Okay.
Bobby was young; he was like 1. And
you think you started going to church just because, like, hey, this kid's gonna have some structure?
Yeah, so we actually did start going to church. We went to a small Baptist church at Fort Leonard Wood. But it was just noise.
Yeah.
Like it was go Sunday. I probably looked forward to eating breakfast on Sunday mornings more than I did like the church service.
Molly driving it?
It was both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say. We had a good friend who actually was like my first like real estate business partner, like who I did a couple flips with. Her name was Jen. She was big into her faith, so we all kind of went together as like a family.
Yeah.
We had a couple other buddies that we invited, and so we had a little group that we would go to church with, but still nothing internalized. Get out to Wentzville, it's kind of the same story. Not a whole lot of internalized. I'm even serving at Wentzville Christian.
Okay.
Like I'm serving on the security team, like spending half my day at church. Still nothing.
But still not in the game.
Still not in the game.
But why would you give up half your Sunday?
Dude, it's crazy what that's just part of being lukewarm, man. Like I don't know. I think for me it was the necessary progression.
Okay.
Like I think I had to build up and in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was serving, and it was just dry. It was lackluster.
Okay.
Like I was still going home.
Were you living with him then, or not yet?
Yeah, right towards the end of that, you were.
Oh well, yeah.
Yep. And so long story short, Jared moves out. He kind of has his own thing, which I think next week we're going to get into your story.
Yep.
Jared comes out. He's been about a year intentionally saved at that point. And then this is where it all kind of crumbles for me. It was actually a trip to Dallas. I think at that point in time in my life, I think the devil was trying to make me focus on everything that I didn't have. And I was becoming very ungrateful, and I wasn't present for the things that I had. And looking back on it, like I can't even understand it, right? Like it was almost a different version of me, looking at things through a different lens.
Yeah.
I wasn't grateful that I had 2 like awesome little boys.
Yep.
I wasn't grateful that I had a wife that's stuck with me through all the BS that I put her through.
Yep.
I was just like, I almost looked at it as a negative, and I was like, I need something else. I want something else. I think there's something like super impactful about that. I think it was my soul crying out. And I thank God, like I'll get into the actual story, but I thank God that it landed on him.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of that pivotal moment for me that my soul's crying out. There's a void. I need something. What is it going to be? Is it going to be the world, or is it going to be Jesus?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that brings up like a really good point. Your flesh, it sounds like your flesh was the driver of all the issues that you were dealing with.
Yeah.
Am I correct in saying that?
Oh, dude, I was the most selfish man alive. Like,
yeah,
it was whatever Bobby wants, whatever makes Bobby feel good in the moment, whatever appeases Bobby. Like, that's what it was.
But, and I'm sure you learned through that your flesh can never be gratified. Like, you can never feel completely full if you just focus on the flesh.
Yeah. No, 100%. So fast forward, I go on this trip to Dallas. I make some unwise mistakes, or I just make some mistakes, and I come back with this attitude that I want just a completely different life. Like I don't want the life that I currently have. So Molly can sense there's something off with me, and I tell her, what's going on, and basically told her I wanted something different, and we started talking about divorce. He was living with me during this time.
Yeah.
I think this is all part of God's plan.
Yeah.
Like the sequence of events and how this all happened.
The way I came out here was very.
Yeah, we'll get into it next week. Like,
unusual.
all of this happening, like you look back and you're like, the probability of all of these events happening in a vacuum, it's non-existent.
Right.
And what I remember through that time, you were trying to talk yourself into that outcome of having something new.
Yeah.
I remember you were talking to me. You had all these different reasons as to why. It was just the enemy lying to you the whole time, and it was just all these different reasons. And I remember you had a conversation with a couple of your buddies who were good influences on you. And then me and you would go to the gym or play golf almost every day, one of the two. And I do remember that vividly, where I
was trying to convince myself.
He was trying to convince himself and
to get a divorce and
Right.
to leave my two kids, which
Right.
I think back on that now. I'm like,
but that's how
Dude.
when the enemy has a grip on you, though, it's that powerful. Like, if you don't have, the power of the Holy Spirit to guide you through those temptations,
yeah,
I mean that's the product.
So wait a minute. So it's like, why didn't you go have a hedonistic life, pay your alimony, pay your child support, and then, probably go chase the things you wanted when you were 18 to 30? What happened?
yeah. So, like I said, Jared was part of all this, and it was tense.
Yeah.
Like, it was not a good time.
Because like what you're saying about the enemy always lying to you, like, for me personally, there's always a carrot and a stick.
Yeah.
And then, when the enemy twists it, the carrot becomes lust.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I've seen 50-year-old bachelors,
Yeah.
and it sucks. It's miserable.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, were you terrified of being a 56-year-old bachelor? Like,
I mean,
was there any, like, was there fear of hell? What was the stick
yeah. I mean, honestly, like,
that brought you back, or like what brought you back?
yeah, dude, like, I was at the point where I was trying to justify it so hard that I was like Googling, like, is it possible that, God could be okay with a divorce? And and with him and with like my friends, it was like, there's some truths that relate to that. Like,
Yeah.
like abuse, unfaithfulness,
Yeah.
Adultery,
like adultery. Like, there's
Yeah.
certain things. So, like, for me, I had no justifiable reason.
Yeah.
Now, you could argue with some of that stuff and like talking about, hey, even if you're like lusting emotionally or whatever, like Molly probably had more of a justification, but it all kind of stopped. There's one night, like 3:00 in the morning, and at that point, nobody's getting sleep. Like, tensions are high.
Yeah. Nobody's
Getting sleep. There's fighting. There's all
Like, is this arguing or like open conversation? Like, hey, I'm just not into it right now.
both.
Okay.
Both. Molly walks in at 3:00 in the morning, and she probably said this with the most confidence that I've heard her say anything. She's like, God told me that this isn't what we're doing. Like, we're not getting a divorce.
Right.
She's like, I don't care. We're not getting a divorce. She's like, we're going to church. We're going to find some counseling. And she's like, we're going to center our relationship around God. And I look at that, and I look at all the things that were said prior to that and how I just let them go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
But that, like, I distinctly remember, like, that just being a 180. It was like, oh, yeah. Like, there was no second guessing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And do you think that was an intellectual conviction, or do you think it was like grace changed your heart?
yeah, I think it was grace changed my heart. Like, I think it was,
Like, if you could finally see what you couldn't see before.
yeah. Yeah, because, dude, like, I've gotten to the point where I've thought about it. It's like, it almost brings me to tears. Like, thinking about potentially leaving, like, Bobby and Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have all hung out with them. Like, solid little dudes. Like, imagine me not, like, being their dad.
Yeah.
Like, how, like.
I mean, that to me is like the stick.
Yeah.
That's the scary, terrified thing, like not being around your kid.
Yeah. And then, like, dude, I mean, Molly, like, I think our relationship since that has just molded into like a beautiful like marriage, right? Like I can look at her and I can see the things biblically that I'm supposed to see in her.
Yeah.
And like I see this like sense of calm and like all of the things that.
So if you were talking to a skeptic and was like, oh, marriage is about me and my wife, like, what would you say? A Christ-centered marriage, what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, I think if your marriage is solely just you and your wife, and I think you could insert kids in there too. Like, I think a lot of people actually put kids above their spouses. Yeah. If there's not the hierarchy of God, spouse, kids, I think there's an expectation for failure, right? And some people make it work. Like, I'm not saying that every relationship that doesn't have that, but dude, what's the statistic? Like 50%?
Yeah.
So it's sacrifice is the key difference, right? Because naturally, I think we're such selfish beings that even if you guys love each other and all this stuff, there's going to be a period of time in your guys' life where she wants what she wants, you want what you want. If those things collide and contradict, like that's what makes it so easy for people to just say, "Oh, you want that now? Well, when I first married you, like you wanted something else.
Yeah.
I'm not really with that, so I'm out."
Yeah.
With Christ, like it's like what are we called to do that's difficult? A wife is called to be submissive, which is like not necessarily in their nature.
Yeah.
And a husband's called to be loving. Like we're supposed to love our bride like Christ loved the church.
Yeah.
That's not like something that's supernatural for us.
Well, it's also pretty countercultural right now.
It is. Yeah. And it's like if you actually like do those things, if your wife submits to you like you're, Christ of the household, like head of the household, and if you love your wife like Christ loved the church, it's like you guys are both, and it almost becomes a game, like you guys are both trying to out
self-sacrifice.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, like,
because a lot of people get angry about that in St. Paul. I don't remember what letter it is, but
yeah.
But like, I heard some podcasts on it a couple weeks ago. But like, if you're going to be the head of your household, it's like the army. You had officers. I don't know if this is relevant. You can cut if it's not. But like in business, in the army, you have leaders who are like me. This is all to glorify me.
Yeah.
But then you also have selfless servants who personal self-sacrifice for the benefit of the organization, of the unit, of the family.
Yeah.
And then when I read St. Paul say head of the household, it means, so how did Jesus love the church? Well, he died for the church.
Yeah.
Self-sacrificial.
Yeah.
Self-sacrifice. What does it mean to be a head of something? It means self-sacrifice. It doesn't mean glory. It doesn't mean honor.
No.
But like when people think leadership, they think,
yeah, I'm the guy.
Well, they think when you're the head of the household, what society
that means my authority. Like the children will respect my authority.
Yeah.
Like
everybody does what I say, but
I think this is where Christians got to get on the blowhorn, or the megaphone, whatever you want to call it, and be like, no, man, leadership kind of, in a way, sucks.
There's a lot
it's
of
self-sacrificial.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Even about that submission, right? It's not. I think the world looks at it like what you just said, that you're going to respect my authority, and then wife, you're going to
be
submit.
1950s. You will have my dinner on the table at 5:00 every night, and you will have high heels on, and you'll have an apron on. Like, that's not what it means.
No. And that's not what submitting means. Like, number one, if we're going to take that approach of loving our wives like Christ loved the church, we have to be worthy of that submission. It all kind of stops and starts with us, right? Like. Just like you said, Christ loved us so much he died on the cross. Like that's the extent that we have to go with our wives. And then if we do those things, then it becomes easier for our wives to submit. And then you have this, this balance, this service-based relationship. And yeah, dude, like without that, there's dangers of prioritizing your kids above that. And without God being the glue, I mean, it doesn't. I'm reading this book called Unoffendable, and the last chapter that I read was about human nature. It's like, was there any part of Jesus's existence, human existence on earth, where he looked at something and he was shocked? by a behavior or action of another human being. It's like, no, Jesus completely understood human nature. And at the end of the day, anything absent of God, like we shouldn't be surprised when destruction occurs. And like, that's kind of what the book's talking about a little bit. It's like, dude, somebody screws you over, human nature. Like he even kind of tests you, the author. He's like, go into the gospel. He's like, find an area where Jesus was like, oh, that's disgusting. Like that behavior, that's so bad. That's so wrong. It doesn't exist. So, I feel like that's, to answer your question in a long roundabout way, that's the importance of having Christ at the center of your marriage.
Yeah. And I think this is a common theme and is probably repetitive on this podcast, but it's the concept of dying to yourself.
Yeah.
Like Christ died for us. So in order for us to have a successful marriage, we have to, and you've talked about that already, but we have to die to our selfish desires.
Yeah.
This is where I get frustrated with atheists who say Christianity is the opiate of the masses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, huh? Like, no,
Yeah.
Christianity is a call to self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
Self-sacrificial responsibility. It's like, how is that an opiate? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think things are going to get harder, but you're going to be able to handle more.
Yeah.
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 Because you're backed by the most solid foundation you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have peace and joy through it all. Like all the tough things that just since I've moved out here, there's been peaks and valleys in both of our lives. And I'm sure you've gone through a bunch as well. But what I've noticed now having Christ, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well with your marriage, but having Christ behind you through those tough situations, like, I mean, my daughter was just in the hospital for 10 days. Now she was healthy, but if I didn't have Christ backing me, like my mind could have ran everywhere.
Yeah. Worry,
Everywhere.
anxiety. Yeah.
All of that stuff. So yeah, especially when you have it at the center of your marriage, and you guys are having your third kid now. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's
Yeah.
crazy to think how life changes in a matter of a few years.
So would you say your knock was actually just Molly just telling you how it's going to go?
Molly getting after me.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Laying
Yeah.
down the law.
No, I mean,
I mean,
dude,
that's a great knock story.
Yeah. Like it was 100% her. But dude, yeah, answered the knock. We started going to Two Rivers. Actually, Kevin Ford, who you introduced. So it's all a web of entanglement.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
some,
I just love that your personal trainer brought you to church.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Kevin was like, hey man, like you go to church? I was like, yeah, I go to Wentzville Christian. He's like, well, try this Two Rivers place. Dude, we stepped foot in that place right around that same time, right around Molly saying, hey, we need to go to church. We had Nick on last week, and man, it changed our lives. The church, the community, the relationships that we've created. And it's not to say everything's like easier. Life still has its ups and downs. I still get frustrated. It's one of the things that's my current vice. Like I got to work through that. Like I still get frustrated. There's still hard days. There's still, bad days with your wife, with your kids, all that stuff. But doing it with Jesus and God in your corner, I look back on who I was before, and I can't imagine what life would look like without that.
I mean, I've noticed the changes the last 3 years, and it's been awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You were not easy to deal with growing up.
Yeah.
So no, definitely see a big change.
You're definitely lighter hearted. And you're definitely having, I would call it more fun. There's probably a better word for that.
No, yeah. I mean, I am.
More joy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
a more biblical word for
Yeah.
it.
Dude, I would highly recommend for anybody that struggles with anger and frustration, the book Unoffendable by Brant Henson, I believe. I apologize if I butchered that. It makes you feel silly. It's basically like, dude, like you're not entitled to be upset and mad and frustrated. It's like, it's just, you're not entitled. You're called to forgive. Like Christ forgave to the extent of dying on the cross.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
But the best.
It is.
The
It is.
initial reaction to having to forgive someone is like, ew.
Yeah. Human nature, man.
hard.
It is.
Yeah, but the feeling, forgiveness, even just for yourself, even if you do it selfishly to start, you take so much weight off of your shoulders when you just forgive somebody.
Yeah.
Because it hurts. Most of the time, they don't even care if you forgive them or not.
Yeah.
They just go about life, and especially if they have no conviction behind it, they're just going to keep doing their thing, and it affects you a heck of a lot more than it affects the offender, essentially.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to somebody going through a similar situation, what's your advice to them?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm talking to, 30-year-old Bobby who's just riddled with lust, doesn't have a relationship with God, I would say just explore it. Like we've talked about it a bunch, and I know I said I wasn't going to say it on this podcast, but the white picket fence approach to Christianity is so far from the truth. I think a lot of masculine dudes look at Christianity and like, that's soft. And it's like, dude, like you read about, King David, you read about Paul, you read about like Noah, like all of these people and what they did.
Some badass dudes.
I mean, they are like they're warriors.
Yeah.
And that perception kind of like you snap out of that and you see it for what it is, and it's a beautiful faith. It's exactly what you said. It's self-sacrificial. It calls you to your highest purpose. So if you're going through stuff, whether it's lust, you're having problems in your marriage, dude, I would just encourage you to explore the faith, explore what it's like to have a relationship with Jesus.
Cool. Now I know, obviously, you're a host as well on this podcast, but if anybody has any questions about your testimony or just any questions in general going through similar stuff, how can they find you outside of just this podcast?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was going to say, we do have things. We're starting to professionalize everything.
Yeah.
So you can go to Knock Podcast Instagram. Has the same logo that you see behind me right here. But yeah, my Instagram, Bobby Kough. You got Jimmy, you got Jared, Jimmy Vreeland, Jared Kough. Dude, yeah, hit us up. If this is something that is of value to you, we're not really doing anything to sell anything other than Jesus. So shares, that's really the only way this is going to get out. And we just hope this has an impact on folks.
Yeah, this is not a bait and switch podcast. We're not just here to.
Hey, here's my course. That I want you to buy.
We're literally only selling Jesus. So yeah, hit us up if you have any questions. But we appreciate you being vulnerable with us today, Bobby, and thank you, Jimmy, for co-hosting with me today.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning into The Knock. If this story moved you or made you think, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs hope. Follow us on social media at The Knock Podcast for more content. And remember, God is always knocking. The question is, will you answer?